Yo, what is going on? We finally got the full Ascendancies leaked about 20-ish hours ago, right as I was going to bed last night. So I've had a almost full 24 hours to think about the top 3 Minion Ascendancies. There were 3 that really stood out to me when I was reading over them, and I've been kind of thinking about it all day, and those 3 have just kind of stuck out to me as really the only viable options, and I think they all have their merits and pros and cons, so I'm going to go over those really quickly here. And then talk about like what I'm leaning to playing in early access. I'll be playing a minion build, of course, and then I just want to talk about which Ascendancy I'm leaning towards right now. However, I've not fully decided yet. So if you want to see some more PoE2 Minion content, make sure to click the like, subscribe button down below. It means a ton to me. And leave a comment down below. What do you think of the state of Minions in PoE2? I know we haven't played it yet, obviously, so you can't have a super hot take. But what Ascendancy is standing out to you, and what are you looking to try? Also, check out the Twitch link down below. We'll be live for a very long time on early access as well. So let's jump into this right away. I'm super excited to talk about these. Number 1 is the Infernalist. This is probably going to be like your default Minion Ascendancy, I think. It just seems like it's going to start on the north part of the tree. It's going to start in the witch starting area, and you're going to have access to minions very quickly. See if that's possible for other classes. Again, games not out yet. Don't know how easy it'll be to get to other ascendancies gems, although they're not really tied to your ascendancy. But I think this has some good things and some bad things. So let's talk about what I think would be the guaranteed minion nodes. Those are the ones I want to focus on. So number 1 here is Altered Flesh. This is 20% of cold damage taken as fire, 20% of lightning taken as fire, and 20% of fizz taken as chaos. Well, this is an interesting one. I think it'd be pretty strong late game. So you get fizz mitigation. The problem is, historically in Path of Exile, chaos resistance is difficult to get in the early parts of the game, and you would ideally want to take this probably first or second for your ascendancy nodes. So taking 20% of fizz as chaos early feels pretty bad. Other than that, the other two can kind of let you stack max fire res. Just kind of get like soft capped on cold and lightning at 75, and then try to get your max fire res up, and you probably would have a pretty good build, I think. So that's pretty nice. If you were playing Chaos Inoculation, 20% of fizz taken as chaos damage would be really good, but unfortunately, if you're playing Minion on Infernalist, I don't think you can do that because of number 3 here, Sedate's Will. Reserves 25% of life, plus 1 to maximum spirit per 25 maximum life. Number 1 screams that I want to play Chaos Inoculation Keystone. Its Will makes me not. Your maximum life is 1, so this would not do anything. You wouldn't lose the life, but you also wouldn't gain any spirit. Spirit is huge in Path of Exile too for minion builds. When you summon a minion, it reserves spirit. So this will just give you more minions. I think, I'm not positive, but I think Infernalist has the capabilities of being the biggest minion army. That being said, reserves 20% of life is a huge downside. That is, you are just 25% less defensive unless you're like a full energy shield build, but you actually it's a weird node because you don't want to be energy shield. You want to have life so you can have more spirit. It's a weird node, but I think it allows for the most minions on the playing field. I call it that. Next up for Infernalist, I'm looking at number 11 here, or number 10, sorry. Your Loyal Hellhound. Grant skill, summon Infernal Hound. 20% of damage from hits is taken from your Hellhound life before you. And what does summon Infernal Hound do? Summons a reviving Infernal Hound, which ignites enemies near it. The Hound takes a portion of damage from hits for you. So this minion does not cost spirit. I believe that's confirmed by dev already. So this is just a free minion. It's basically a tank for you and your other minions. Yeah, and it does ignites. We'll see how strong it is. It kind of gives me like a reminder of the Guardian big holy dude that did Righteous Fire. But this doesn't have the AoE effect of that, but it does have the 20% damage from hits. So this is a big defensive layer. See how strong it is offensively. This will probably be your first ascendancy node if you're playing minions in Infernalist, but we'll have to see how good this minion is. It's hard to tell with just not seeing any numbers on it, right? Other than the 20% damage. That's just a really strong defensive layer for your first ascendancy. Lastly, so you have one more ascendancy node to take. So you gotta look around the tree. What are our options? This is where I kind of ran into the problem with the Infernalist. What is my 4th ascendancy node and why do I care about it? But number 11, that's an option. Become an egg when you deal critical strike, critical hit. Okay, that's not going to ever happen, so this doesn't really matter. This is actually useless. 8 and 9 are out of the question because we only have 1 point left. We have to travel, so we have to start with 7. Well, what's 7? 7 is maximum mana is replaced by maximum Infernal Flame. Gain Infernal Flame instead of spending mana. Yada yada yada. Again, this is not really super good. This would have been really good if we were reserving auras with mana. We could reserve all our mana, I believe, and then use Infernal Flame. But you reserve auras with spirit, and we're reserving minions with spirit, so This doesn't really do a whole lot for us. Someone correct me in the comments. This doesn't seem very strong. The last option we have, suddenly we're out of options already, is number 5, Demonic Possession. Grant skill Demon Form. Shapeshift into a demon, vastly boosting the power of your spells. Gain Demon Flame every second you remain in demon form, causing your life to be lost. If you're casting spells, it's really good. Ideally, we're not casting a lot of spells, we're playing minions. At least that's not my goal. So again, this one doesn't seem very good. You kind of end up with like 2 and 4, where you reserve 25% of your life again to get plus mana per life or plus maximum energy shield per life. And at this point, you're down to a 50% life pool. So I'm in a weird spot with Infernalist. I think it has 3 good ascendancies, potentially, if Loyal Hellhound is good. Other than that, the 4th one's really like borderline useless. We'll see if somebody has other ideas on that, but I'm having a hard time seeing a good 4th ascendancy note on Infernalist. That being said, the first 3 I think are pretty strong for a minion build. Alright, second up, we get into some of the spicier stuff, which is the stuff that gets us away from the old mindset of Necromancer and I'm playing a witch to summon minions. We have Gemling Legionnaire, which is for Strength Dex section of the tree. And it has some really interesting stuff for minions. So we'll start on the left side here. Number 1, plus 10% to quality of all skills. This is historically really good for minions, quality on gems. Think of what we use Ashes of the Stars in PoE 1. At plus quality, it's very strong. Plus quality usually includes things like minion life, minion damage, minion attack cast speed. Like Raise Zombie from PoE 1 included, you could summon an extra zombie. Obviously, that's not the case with Spirit being in the game now, but plus quality is good. And that leads to number 2, which is probably even more important, plus 1 to level of all skill gems. Level of skill gems is usually the strongest source of damage increase for all minion gems. Having plus 1 on your ascendancy is just really strong. This could probably carry, these 2 nodes could probably carry you for the first, like, half of the game. I would assume. We could probably carry you into early mapping, so that's just really, really strong. Let's talk about some of the other ones. So 1 and 2 are my default if I'm playing this as a minion build. I'm going 1-2. Just easy. After that, we have number 3, 30% less cost of skills. Skill gems have 30% more attribute recurrence. Probably avoiding this one. Again, we're a minion build, we're not casting a ton. Unless it's 30% less cost, what makes it cost less spirit, which I highly, highly doubt, then it'd be really good. Other than that, not really interested. I am interested in number 4, though. Grants 3 integrated efficiency. Grants 3 additional skill slots. Minion builds historically in Path of Exile have been very socket starved. I mean, they have a lot of abilities I want to use. Having 3 additional skill slots could let us add more minions, more supports, more cast on effects. I mean, there's like a cast on minion death meta skill in PoE 2, so this could be really, really strong. Number 5 I think is really strong too. You can use 2 copies of the same support gem in different skills. So in Path of Exile 2, you can only use 1 support gem in your entire build. That's the same. So if I wanted to use Feeding Frenzy support, which is kind of like the minion damage node, the old minion damage or minion attack cast speed it gives now, you could use that in 2 different skills. There's a minion mastery support gem that gives you plus 1 level of your socketed minion gems. You could use that in 2 different active skill gems then. Seems very, very strong. 6, again, your plus 1 max cold fighting per 4 blue, red, green sockets. Very strong defensive layer. So 4, 5, 6, 1, 2 are like all really good. So we're at 5 really good ascendancy nodes already. It's gonna be tough to choose. And unfortunately, 7 and 8 are just things I'm probably not going to play as a minion build on this character. So I'm already have a tough choice between 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. 7 and 8 are attribute requirements of gems to be satisfied by our highest attribute. I don't think attributes are going to be a problem with PoE 2 with the changes to the attribute highway nodes where you can select which attribute you want to be. I don't think attribute requirements are going to be a huge problem. And then inherent bonus from intelligence and dex are doubled. This is nice. Not necessary. It's nice to have. Definitely leaning towards 1, 2, and 4, 5 probably for men. Maybe 6 super late. Or if I can figure out a way to not use 2 copies of the same support gem, then 6 would be stronger. Gemling Legionnaire seems like a really strong class in general. Gem scaling in PoE is really, really strong usually. So this seems really, really good. And it'd be super interesting to play as a mercenary early, switching to a minion build. That seems pretty interesting. Last up is definitely my favorite one to talk about because I wasn't ready for this to be like a minion build. I think it has really good potential. So that is the Titan. There is one note on Titan that I think is incredibly strong. and could carry a lot of builds, but I think it's going to especially carry a minion build. So, and that is the 4-5 pass. We'll talk about 4. Carry a chest which adds 20 inventory slots. If you played Wildwood League in PoE1, this is like having your backpack, extra 20 inventory slots. Doesn't make your character any better. Lets you carry more stuff though, which is kind of fun. But 5 is the big one. Hulking Form. 50% increased effect of small passive skills. That is like so crazy. I think if there's gonna be a nerf in PoE2, this is like one of the first things on the chopping block. I mean, I'm a minion talking about playing. I'm playing a minion build, and I'm talking about playing Titan. So 50% increased effect is huge. Think about your nodes in PoE1. They're like 12% minion damage. Now they're 18%. Right? So this is just really, really strong. I cannot stress how strong of a point this is, and we haven't even seen the whole passive tree yet, but there could be some insane minion stuff. I've seen like bits and pieces of it already. There could be some insane small passive skills that with an increased effect would really help. So this is like potentially really, really strong, depending on the skill tree. One of the first things I'm going to do in PoE2 launches, take a look at the skill tree, see what we can make of this, and think where we're going to get spot. So the problem with Titan is that I was going to have, like, knowing this is the first thing I saw, I'm like, what else can we do in Titan? Luckily, we have options. Like, that was the surprise part. We have other options if we take these two. The other options are we go number 1, right over here, Stone Skin, 50% more armor from equipped body armor. This lets you play like an armor-based minion build. So you can have physical reduction, you can do minion life stacking, or armor life stacking basically, and you have 50% more armor, so you can get your phys reduction this way. And then the only other thing that's really, a lot of these are like slam, strike, skill dependent. The only other thing we could really use is number 8, 15% more maximum life. Again, this is just a really good defensive. So you go 4-5 first, and then you go 1 and 8. And you got like a really good defensive setup with 1 and 8, and you get really good like potentially offensive and defensive setups with 4 and 5. This seems like a really all-around fun build. Titan starts in the full strength section of the passive tree too, so you're not super far away from the minion nodes. You can just start going like trying to like draw it out, but you're starting at like 8 o'clock on the clock. Basically, you want to try to get to like 10 o'clock is where like some of the really strong minion nodes are. So it's like not even that far away. That being said, Titan's really where I'm leaning right now, actually. So it's probably gonna be Titan, Gemling, Infernalist for me, which I didn't think I'd be saying at this point after seeing the Path Ascendancies. But I'm excited to play something other than a Witch as a minion build in Path of Exile. Alright, I'll wrap it up because I've been yapping about these Ascendancies way too long. Infernalist, I think, is your safest choice. He's gonna have your best early, probably. You're gonna fastest access to minions. It's access to some really strong minion starters on the passive tree. So there's like little nodes coming off the Witch area that can have minion damage, where the other ones don't really benefit from any of their passive nodes really strong early. Gemling has probably the worst pathing. You start in the farthest away from all the other good minion nodes, but I think it has some really strong late game ascendancy node passives. The +1 level of scaling gems and quality is like absolutely insane. This is really, really, really strong. And Titan is the last one. I think this is the most defensive option. I think the 50% passive node damage is like overpowered. Like the game's not even out yet, and you hate to be calling for a nerf on something, but like that's like really, really strong. And then it's decent pathing. You're pretty close to like to the left side of the tree, which is kind of where you want to be on minion. There's some minion nodes all around the tree, but there's a lot towards like the upper left side. So definitely kind of where you want to be with a minion build. And then gives you a lot of cool options to build defensively differently than we have seen in the past on minion builds. So that being said, I will wrap it up there. If you stuck it out this long, leave a comment down below. Let me think about this list, or if there's another ascendancy that I didn't see that you think is good. I'd love to hear about that. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Hopefully before early access starts. Other than that, catch you next time. Bye.